The 26th Malaysia-Brunei Annual Leaders Consultation, or ALC, was recently held following the state visit of His Majesty the Sultan of Brunei Darussalam to Malaysia. The ALC remains the highest platform for both countries to review and strengthen their bilateral cooperation. To share more on this, we are honoured to have with us virtually today His Excellency Datuk Muhammad AINI ATAN, High Commissioner of Malaysia to Brunei Darussalam. Thank you for doing this, Your Excellency. Now let's begin with this. His Majesty Sultan of Brunei Darussalam recently undertook a state visit to Malaysia, which was followed by the 26th Malaysia-Brunei Annual Leaders Consultation, or ALC 26. Could you share the key highlights and outcomes from this important visit, and how does the ALC mechanism, being the highest level bilateral platform, contribute to strengthening Malaysia-Brunei relations, Dato'?
First and foremost, thank you, Mr. Ong, for inviting me to get involved in this session. And of course, as we know, the ALC was held recently on the 27th August. And of course, His Majesty Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam undertook a state visit to Malaysia from 25th to 27th August, an invitation of His Majesty Sultan of Malaysia. His Majesty was accompanied for his trip by His Royal Highness Prince Abdul Madu, Cabinet Minister, and also other senior officials. The state visit itself was later on followed by the 26th Malaysia-Brunei Darussalam Annual Leaders Consultation, ALC, known as ALC 26. And ALC is the highest level bilateral platform between Malaysia and Brunei. It is hosted alternately by both countries. Brunei hosted ALC 35 last year in Bandar Seri Begawan. And as you mentioned also, ALC is unique as it provides a direct and consistent channel for our leaders to address opportunities and outstanding issues. It ensures that Malaysia-Brunei cooperation remains dynamic, people-centered, and responsive to changing times. In fact, by meeting annually, both sides maintain momentum in advancing new initiatives while strengthening traditional cooperation. This time round, we're lucky that ALC 26 was held on 27th August in Trajaya, back with the state visit also by His Majesty Sultan. Well, during this visit, of course, the Prime Minister met His Majesty Sultan of Brunei, was really discuss the progress of ongoing cooperation, address outstanding matters, and exchange views on regional and international issues of mutual concern. Both leaders welcome also progress in the joint land boundary survey and demarcation, oil and gas cooperation, and also maritime cooperation. During the meeting, we learned also that Brunei is committed to facilitating easy movement at the border of Brunei Sarawak, border through the Brunei-Malaysia Frequent Traveller Program, BMFTP. It is a program that facilitates those frequent travelers between Brunei, Sarawak, and Sarawak-Brunei also. At this opportunity also, consider also witness the exchange of the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding on the cooperation in health between the Ministries of Health of both countries. Of course, they will further strengthen health cooperation between Brunei and Malaysia and the overall quality of our healthcare delivery system. The visit, of course, reaffirmed the close and special relationship between Malaysia and Brunei, and also, of course, other key progress that were discussed is in the area of boundary survey and demarcation, oil and gas, and also maritime cooperation. Importantly, the state visit and the ALC 26 reflect the strong commitment of the countries to deepen relations at the highest level. And that is Michelle.
Now, both leaders discuss a wide range of cooperation and also exchange views on regional and, of course, international issues. Could you elaborate on the significance of this dialogue for Malaysia and Brunei, particularly in the context of ASEAN?
Malaysia and Brunei have, of course, share common position on many regional and global issues, and including peace and stability and prosperity in Southeast Asia. Both countries again reaffirmed their commitment to united and resilient ASEAN, and also on international issues, whether it is regional or international. As Malaysia assumed the ASEAN chairmanship in 2025, Brunei's support and partnership will, of course, be vital in advancing ASEAN priorities in general. Yeah, that is what I can say as a whole. Sure.
Right, and Malaysia and Brunei, of course, marked the 40th anniversary of diplomatic relations last year. How would you describe or perhaps rate the current state of bilateral relations between Malaysia and, of course, Brunei?
In fact, the relation between latest relations are big top and superb, I mentioned, because even at the level of state head of state, for example, between Sultan Brunei and state of head of our young Sultan Agong, exchange of visit has been our young Sultan Agong visited Brunei at the level of state visit last year, 16 to 18 October. And also reciprocated this time by the visit of Sultan Brunei here. And then, as I mentioned, the visit was on 26 August for this visit. And of course, on top of that, our Prime Minister also visited Brunei twice in 2024, in fact, in February and also in August, because the last time the ALC was in Brunei in August last year. And then, of course, there was 25th ALC, this 26th ALC is here. And then, of course, on top of that, our foreign minister was there in early year, if I'm not mistaken, January 2024, prior to the ALC visit. And so many ministers also crisscrossing visiting Brunei or KL on for example, on disasters management. On top of that, we have also Minister of Education. Higher education also was in Brunei this year, and also at the level of the Director General of the Disaster Management, NACMA, the Director General of Immigration was recently in Brunei also to discuss on issues related to promoting how the sectoral issues can be discussed, can be developed further. I believe at the level of bottom top and top bottom is very good. And then, of course, along the line, we will definitely try to put more substance on it in terms of economics, in terms of tourism, in terms of social also. In fact,
now, speaking of there's so many exchanges between the top leaders, but one of the priority is perhaps trade and investment, which remain a cornerstone of Malaysia-Brunei relationship. Could you perhaps share or elaborate more on the latest trade performance and opportunities for future economic cooperation? I think the viewers would like to know more about this.
In fact, for the year, for example, for year 2024, our total trade between Malaysia and Brunei stand on 1.4 billion US dollars total trade, and of course a bit advantage to Malaysia in terms of our export to Brunei. But of course, on top of that also, Sabah and Sarawak contributed more also on the bilateral relation of their cooperation, of their economic activities also. For example, in tourism activities, the last year, 2024, 1.7 million tourists from Brunei visited Malaysia. And then from January until June this year, already 700,000 tourists from Brunei visited Malaysia. And of course, not only tourists from Sabah and Sarawak, but we are impressed also the almost equal numbers from those Bruneian visited Kuala Lumpur. Not only Brunei crossed into Sabah and Sarawak from total that I mentioned just now. Okay, I believe,
right, and,
yeah.
Brunei maintains, of course, a strong economic and cultural ties with Sabah and Sarawak, like you mentioned earlier. Now, in your view, how important are these sub-regional linkages to further deepening bilateral relations? Are there anything in discussion at the moment?
In fact, of course, if you mentioned, if I hear you correctly, you mentioned the regional, and of course, there's also, for example, when it comes to sub-regional, we cannot take out the element of the logistic. Naturally, also, of course, Sabah Sarawak is there, and of course, when the new capital of Indonesia later on move closer to the border of Brunei, to Nusantara, it's there. For example, all these factors will also play a very important role, economically, socially, and also politically also. And then, of course, for example, I'm not sure that you have or not, but because this now the Penyalang Smart City developed by Sarawak government is also, I think, will play a key role in the future also for that region. Because the smart Penyalang Smart City has also been promoting to Brunei to have investment into the area. And I possibly think that in future, in the near future, this Penyalang Smart City will, of course, benefit regionally to Brunei, of course, to Malaysia, also as a whole, also.
Right, of course, we see that Royal Brunei Airlines impacting tourism and people-to-people exchanges as well. And last but not least, Your Excellency, looking ahead, what are Malaysia's priorities in further strengthening cooperation with Brunei, especially as Malaysia assumes the ASEAN chairmanship in 2025?
Of course, I mentioned also when we talk about ASEAN, when we talk about the relation, it's not bilateral relation also, and then development to ASEAN cooperation. And of course, when it comes to ASEAN, of course, we also discuss further on movement, on initiative that should be developed between not only Malaysia and Brunei, but other ASEAN countries as a whole group. But what I can say, a way forward, for example, this the relation between Malaysia and Brunei, ASEAN as a whole, should also be looked, I believe, will work at the level of senior official also, for example. And then, as I mentioned, the relation between a country should not only between the leaders, but also the senior official and the bottom top and top bottom also. I believe this. I think I need to mention this. When I was at the ALC, at the sideline of ALC, I was pulled aside by the Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister Department of Brunei by the name Datuk Sri Setia Reza. He mentioned to me that Datuk Reza has a private discussion with our Chief Secretary, Tan Sri Samsul Azri. It's mentioned on the possibility of working together for the top civil servant also have a cooperation between the two countries. Because this cooperation between government officials, I was there, I mean, to exchange of visit, discussion also on issues. I was told by Reza in the early 2000 and before, when I was at the State Banquet at the Prime Minister office also, I reconfirmed this with our Chief Secretary to Government, Tan Sri Samsul Azri. He mentioned also that this discussion was indeed took place, and both sides, I believe, as on the ground as the High Commissioner Malaysia in Brunei, I will love to explore further on this proposed discussion at the level of the government official. Because, of course, so many things can be exchanged between the government official, how to improve the service, etc., in the future. Michelle.
Well, Your Excellency, thank you for sharing your insights with us today. We greatly appreciate your time and perspectives on Malaysia-Brunei relations. And hopefully, Malaysia and Brunei will continue to have a good relationship, strong and robust. Thank you once again.
Thanks to you also, Michael. Yeah.
More global updates in just a moment. This is The World on Bernama TV. Stay with us.